the secrets that time tried to bury. In the vast timeline of human civilization, there are moments when the past seems to whisper to us, through stone, through symbols, through artifacts that defy logic. These relics, scattered across deserts, oceans, and forgotten ruins, speak of knowledge far beyond their time. They tell us that ancient hands may have held wisdom we still struggle to comprehend. From a machine hidden beneath the sea, to drawings so large they can only be seen from the sky, from a book written in an unknown language, to crystal skulls carved with impossible precision, and a colony that vanished as if erased from existence. These are the mysteries that refuse to die. Each of them challenges what we know about history and forces us to ask the question, what if the past was far more advanced and far more mysterious than we dare to imagine? For centuries, historians and scientists have tried to make sense of these anomalies. Some call them coincidences, others call them messages, clues left behind by forgotten civilization, or perhaps by something else. And yet the deeper we look, the more the truth seems to slip away. Like sand through our fingers, the secrets of the ancient world remain buried, waiting for those brave enough to uncover them. In this episode of The Lost Journal, we open 5 ancient cases that continue to defy explanation: the Antikythera Mechanism, the Nazca Lines, the Voynich Manuscript, the Crystal Skulls, and the Lost Colony of Roanoke. 5 stories, 5 enigmas, 5 windows into the unknown. So sit back, let the noise of the modern world fade away, and join us as we trace the footprints of humanity's most enduring mysteries. Because sometimes the truth isn't lost, it's simply waiting to be rediscovered. The Ancient Greek Computer, June 1900. A group of sponge divers from the small Greek island of Symi was returning from a long expedition near the coast of Crete. On their way home, they decided to take shelter near the tiny island of Antikythera, a rocky, wind-battered place forgotten by time. What they found beneath those waters would change our understanding of the ancient world forever. At a depth of about 45 meters, diver Elias Stadiatos stumbled upon something extraordinary: a massive shipwreck, its wooden frame long decayed, but its cargo, statues, pottery, and bronze artifacts still preserved in the sea's embrace. Among them was a small corroded lump of bronze, no larger than a shoebox. It didn't seem important at first, but when archaeologists began to study it, they realized this object wasn't just a piece of metal, it was a machine. Built more than 2,000 years ago, known today as the Antikythera Mechanism, it has been called the world's first computer, an intricate device capable of predicting astronomical positions, eclipses, and even the timing of the ancient Olympic Games. But the real question is, how could such technology exist in ancient Greece? The device was composed of at least 30 interlocking bronze gears, each one crafted with microscopic precision. When a handle was turned, the gears would move together in perfect harmony, calculating the movement of the sun, moon, and planets according to complex mathematical ratios. Inside its casing, scientists later discovered inscriptions, ancient Greek markings describing lunar cycles, eclipses, and celestial events. The mechanism was, quite literally, a portable universe, a mechanical cosmos in a box, and yet nothing like it would be built again for more than 1,000 years. For centuries after its creation, all knowledge of such mechanical computing vanished. It's as if someone in the ancient world had glimpsed the future, and then the vision disappeared, swallowed by time. Researchers still debate who built it. Some believe it came from the school of Hipparchus, the great Greek astronomer of the 2nd century BCE. Others argue it was inspired by Archimedes, the mathematical genius of Syracuse. But what's most unsettling is not who built it, it's why. The precision of its gears was so advanced, so refined, that it rivals the craftsmanship of 18th century clockmakers. How could a civilization, using only hand tools and bronze, create a device that anticipated modern mechanical engineering by millennia? Some say it's evidence that ancient Greece's scientific knowledge was far greater than we imagine. Others, more boldly, claim it may not have originated on Earth at all. The truth, as always, lies somewhere between wonder and mystery. In 2021, advanced 3D scans revealed more internal components than ever before. Using X-ray tomography, researchers uncovered hidden dials and inscriptions that had been unreadable for over 2,000 years. They found that the mechanism could predict planetary movements with astonishing accuracy, not only for the known planets, but also for Venus and Mercury, which are difficult to track even today. It even accounted for the moon's irregular orbit, something that would require deep mathematical knowledge and careful observation. So how did they do it? Was this the product of a lost lineage of Greek inventors? Or was it a lone genius, an Archimedes of the unknown, who managed to glimpse the mechanics of the heavens before his time? The Antikythera Mechanism remains silent, but through that silence, it speaks of a world where art, science, and philosophy were one. A time when humanity looked up at the stars and sought not only to worship them, but to understand them. And perhaps the greatest mystery is not that the mechanism existed, but that it was forgotten, lost beneath the waves, waiting for divers who didn't even know what they were about to awaken. A reminder that sometimes progress is not a straight line, it's a spiral, like the gears of the Antikythera itself, turning endlessly between knowledge and oblivion. The Lost Journal continues, as we move from the depths of the sea to the deserts of Peru, where messages to the gods stretch across the sands of eternity. The Nazca Lines, messages to the gods. Across the endless deserts of southern Peru, there lies a mystery so vast, it can only be seen from the sky. Gigantic shapes etched into the earth. A monkey, a hummingbird, a spider, a human figure stretching its arms toward the heavens. These are the Nazca Lines, and for over a century, they have defied explanation. Discovered in the 1920s by pilots flying over the Nazca Desert, the lines are not simple drawings. They are immense geoglyphs, some stretching for more than 300 meters, carved into the desert surface by removing a thin layer of reddish pebbles to reveal the lighter ground. Beneath, to walk among them is to see nothing, but from above, they reveal an astonishing design, an entire landscape transformed into a message. Who made them? Why? And who are these messages meant for? The Nazca civilization flourished between 200 BCE and 600 CE. They lived in one of the driest regions on Earth. Yet they mastered irrigation and agriculture with an almost miraculous precision. But nothing they built compares to what they left behind in the sands. More than 800 straight lines, 300 geometric shapes, and 70 giant figures, animals, plants, and enigmatic beings that seem almost alive. Some of the lines run perfectly straight for kilometers, despite the uneven terrain. Others form intricate spirals and curves, aligning with points on the horizon where the sun and moon rise during solstices. It's as if the desert itself was turned into a cosmic calendar. When researchers first began studying the lines, they proposed many theories. Some said they were astronomical markers, an ancient observatory tracking celestial movements. Others believed they were ritual pathways, walked upon during ceremonies to honor the gods. In the 1940s, German archaeologist Maria Reiche devoted her entire life to the mystery. She spent decades mapping the lines, protecting them from damage, and searching for meaning among their silent paths. To her, the Nazca people were brilliant astronomers who encoded their understanding of the heavens into the earth itself. But not everyone agreed. In the 1960s, a new and more sensational theory emerged, that the Nazca Lines were landing strips for ancient visitors. Erich von Däniken, in his controversial book Chariots of the Gods, suggested that extraterrestrials may have used the desert as a kind of interstellar runway, To him, the figures were messages, not for humans but for beings from the stars. Scientists dismissed the idea as fantasy. Yet even today, as satellite imagery reveals new geoglyphs hidden beneath the sand, no single explanation fully satisfies. Because the truth is, the more we study them, the more mysterious they become. How did a pre-industrial society, with no aerial view, create such precise, massive images that can only be fully appreciated from hundreds of meters above? Why would they design art that no human could see? One clue may lie in their religion. For the Nazca, the gods resided in the sky. Rain, fertility, and life itself came from above. To draw on the desert floor may have been a way to communicate, to send offerings heavenward, in hopes that the gods would see. When the rains failed, the Nazca turned to ritual. Archaeologists have found evidence of ceremonial offerings, pottery, food, even human sacrifices, placed along the lines. Each geoglyph may have been a sacred space, a point of connection between the earth and the divine. But nature is cruel, and the desert remembers. By the 7th century, droughts grew longer, the rivers dried, and the Nazca civilization vanished, leaving behind only the marks they carved into the land, eternal, haunting, and silent. Centuries passed. Empires rose and fell, yet the lines remained, untouched by time, preserved by the dry wind and scorching sun, and perhaps that's the greatest miracle of all. For 2,000 years, these drawings have endured, a message written in a language we still cannot read. Are they maps of the stars, offerings to gods, or evidence of contact with something beyond our understanding? Maybe, as with all great mysteries, the truth is not one answer but many. Each line, each curve, each symbol carved into the desert is a question left for us by people who gazed at the same sky we see today and wondered about their place beneath it. As the wind moves gently over the Nazca Plain, those questions still echo. Eternal whispers carried across the centuries. The Lost Journal continues. From the scorching deserts of Peru, we turn the page to a forgotten manuscript, written in a language no one has ever been able to decipher. The Voynich Manuscript, the book no one can read. In the quiet halls of Yale University's rare book library, there lies a manuscript that has defied every attempt to understand it, bound in calfskin, written in looping, elegant script, filled with illustrations of strange plants, celestial diagrams, and nude women bathing in green pools. It is known as the Voynich Manuscript, a book that no one can read, a mystery that has haunted scholars for more than 500 years. The story begins in 1912. A Polish antiquarian named Wilfrid Voynich was searching through an old chest of manuscripts in a Jesuit college near Rome. Among the dusty tomes, he found a small, beautifully illustrated book, written in a language unlike anything he had ever seen. No recognizable alphabet, no clear structure, no known translation. The letters flowed like vines, elegant, organic, and completely unreadable. Voynich purchased it immediately, believing he had uncovered a lost treasure of medieval science. Perhaps written by a secret order of alchemists, or even by Roger Bacon, the 13th century English philosopher rumored to possess forbidden knowledge. He could not have imagined the storm of obsession that this little book would unleash. The Voynich Manuscript contains over 240 pages, divided into sections: herbal, astronomical, biological, cosmological, pharmaceutical, and recipes. Each page is a world of its own, drawings of impossible flowers that resemble no known species, constellations arranged in patterns no astronomer can explain, and tiny human figures connected by tubes, stars, and pools of liquid, as if illustrating the secret anatomy of the universe itself. But the text remains impenetrable, written in an alphabet that exists nowhere else. Statistical analysis shows that it follows linguistic rules, repetitions, word lengths, sentence patterns, and yet it matches no known human language. It behaves like a language, but it is not one we know. Over the years, the world's greatest minds have tried and failed to decode it. Cryptographers from World War I and II, code breakers from the NSA, linguists, historians, even artificial intelligence models, all have stared into the same pages and walked away defeated. Some believed it was an elaborate hoax, a clever forgery designed to deceive kings and scholars. But if that were true, why would someone spend years crafting over 170,000 characters of meaningless text and hundreds of detailed, consistent illustrations? The ink, the parchment, the pigments all date to the early 1400s, centuries before any modern hoaxer could have manufactured such precision. If it's a fake, it's one so perfect that even time itself can't expose it. In 2018, researchers used advanced AI pattern recognition to compare the script against hundreds of ancient languages. One algorithm suggested that the manuscript may be written in a coded form of Hebrew. Another hinted at a phonetic transcription of an extinct Romance language. But none of these theories could explain everything. Every discovery only deepened the mystery. Because for every symbol that seems to make sense, another 5 defy logic. It's as if the book wants to be read, but only by those who can dream in its language. Some see it as a work of art, a visual riddle meant to provoke imagination. Others believe it's a compendium of forgotten knowledge, medicine, astronomy, alchemy, preserved by a secret group to protect humanity's greatest truths. And then, there are those who whisper of something far stranger, that the Voynich Manuscript might not have been written for us at all, that its author, whoever they were, was transcribing something they could barely comprehend, visions, dreams, messages, perhaps, from beyond. In recent years, high-resolution scans have allowed anyone with an internet connection to explore its pages. But even now, with modern technology, we stand no closer to the truth. The book remains as silent as ever, its pages whispering secrets no one can hear, a code without a key, a message without a sender, a voice lost between centuries. Maybe that's what makes it so haunting. Not that it hides knowledge, but that it reminds us of how much we don't know. That somewhere, buried in time, there may have been ways of thinking, languages, sciences, visions that we have completely forgotten, and perhaps this book is their last echo. The Lost Journal continues. From the coded words of the Voynich Manuscript, we journey next to the glittering depths of legend itself, where ancient skulls, carved from pure crystal, await those who dare to look into their impossible perfection. The crystal skulls, relics of the gods, hidden deep within the jungles of Central America, beyond the ruins of Mayan temples and beneath the canopy of forgotten worlds. There are legends that speak of the crystal skulls, objects said to hold the secrets of life, death, and the universe itself for centuries. Their story has haunted explorers, mystics, and scientists alike. Some call them sacred relics, others instruments of power left behind by gods, or something not of this earth. But the truth is far stranger and far more elusive than anyone expected. The legend begins in the late 19th century. In 1924, British adventurer Frederick Mitchell Hedges claimed to have discovered a crystal skull inside the ancient Mayan city of Lubantun, in modern-day Belize. It was said to be carved from a single block of clear quartz, perfectly symmetrical, with detachable jaw and lifelike proportions. Local shamans called it the Skull of Doom. They believed it possessed mysterious powers, that it could heal, foretell the future, or even bring death to those who disrespected it. When light passed through its translucent surface, some witnesses swore they saw images form within, as if the skull itself was alive. But as with all great mysteries, truth and myth soon became entangled. Over time, other crystal skulls surfaced. In Mexico, Guatemala, Brazil, and even private collections across Europe, each claimed to be ancient, each carved with a precision that seemed impossible for pre-Columbian civilizations, because these skulls were made from quartz, a material harder than steel, that even modern diamond-tipped tools struggle to sculpt. So how? People asked, could the ancient Maya, Aztecs, or Olmecs have created them without the technology we have today? Scientific studies began in the 20th century, when experts at the British Museum and the Smithsonian Institution examined several skulls under electron microscopes, they discovered microscopic tool marks, signs of modern polishing wheels. This suggested that many skulls were likely carved in the 19th century, perhaps in Europe, possibly for collectors fascinated by the growing craze for ancient artifacts. And yet, not all mysteries were solved, because even the most advanced replicas couldn't match the optical precision of the original Mitchell Hedges skull. When scientists analyzed its internal structure, they found no signs of machining, only perfection. The quartz was cut against its natural axis, something that would normally cause the crystal to shatter instantly. No known modern method could reproduce it without destroying the material. How then was it made? By whom and for what purpose? Some researchers have suggested that the skulls might have been ceremonial tools used by ancient priests to communicate with the spirit world. Others see them as symbols of consciousness, physical manifestations of the mind, shaped from the purest crystal to reflect the divine nature of humanity. And then, there are the legends whispered among the Maya themselves. Stories of 13 crystal skulls, each one holding knowledge from a different world. When reunited, they say, the skulls will reveal the truth about humanity's origins and its destiny. 13 skulls, 13 keepers, 13 keys to the universe. In the 1970s, spiritual movements embraced the legend. The skulls were said to vibrate at specific frequencies that could interact with human consciousness. Some claimed that meditating near them induced visions, flashes of ancient temples, alien craft, or cosmic revelations. Skeptics dismissed these accounts as fantasy, but even the skeptics could not explain one thing: why, across cultures separated by oceans and centuries, from Mesoamerica to Tibet, we find crystal skulls carved in nearly identical forms. Coincidence or connection? Modern science still can't fully answer how the most complex skulls were made. Advanced 3D imaging shows no tool marks, no assembly seams, and no modern adhesives. The quartz itself seems molecularly flawless, as if shaped not by human hands, but by forces of heat and pressure far beyond Earth's natural environment. Were these skulls truly relics of an ancient advanced civilization? Or did someone long ago possess knowledge that we have since lost? The answer remains buried, somewhere between myth, technology, and faith. And yet, even stripped of legend, the crystal skulls still speak to something deep within us. They are mirrors, reflecting our eternal search for meaning, our hunger to touch the divine, our fascination with what lies beyond understanding. Because whether carved by gods or by man, they remind us of one truth: that mystery itself is sacred. The Lost Journal continues. From the shining faces of crystal skulls, we move to the haunting silence of an empty colony, a settlement that vanished without a trace. The Lost Colony of Roanoke, America's first mystery. Before Jamestown, before Plymouth Rock, there was Roanoke, a dream born from ambition, hope, and mystery. The year was 1587. England, under Queen Elizabeth I, sought to expand its empire across the ocean. A group of settlers, men, women, and children, set sail to the New World, guided by the explorer John White. Their destination, a small island off the coast of what is now North Carolina. A place known as Roanoke. It was meant to be the first English colony in America, a new beginning. But instead, it became one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in history. The settlers, about 115 in total, built their small community near the shore. They faced harsh weather, dwindling supplies, and tense relations with local tribes. Still, there was hope. John White's daughter, Eleanor Dare, gave birth to the first English child born in the New World, a baby girl named Virginia Dare. For a moment, it seemed the colony might survive. But soon, resources ran dangerously low. The settlers urged White to return to England for help. Reluctantly, he agreed, promising to come back as soon as possible. He sailed home. But fate had other plans. When he arrived in England, he found his country at war with Spain. The Spanish Armada threatened invasion, and all available ships were seized for battle. It would take 3 long years before John White could finally return to Roanoke. When he did, in August 1590, what he found was beyond comprehension. The colony was gone. Every house had been dismantled. No bodies, no signs of struggle, no smoke, no footprints, only silence. The entire settlement had vanished. On a wooden post, White found one cryptic word carved into the surface in Croatoan, and on another tree, just 3 letters, CRO. It was the only clue left behind. White took it as a sign, a message from the settlers, indicating they might have moved to Croatoan Island, now called Hatteras Island, where friendly natives once lived. But a violent storm forced his ships back to sea before he could search further. He never saw the colonists again. Centuries have passed, but the question remains: what happened to the lost colony of Roanoke? Did they merge with local tribes, adopting their customs and disappearing into history? Were they killed by disease or hostile groups? Or did they try to sail away, lost forever to the ocean's depths? Archaeological digs have uncovered tantalizing hints. European artifacts buried near Native American settlements, fragments of pottery, tools, and weapons, but no definitive proof. No trace of Virginia Dare, no graves, no bones, no farewell, just whispers. Some theories reach beyond reason. They claim Roanoke was wiped out by supernatural forces, a curse from the spirits of the land. Others say the colonists were part of an early secret expedition, their disappearance, covered up to hide political failure. And then, there are those who believe they didn't vanish at all, that they became something else. Sajans. Among tribes along the eastern coast tell of pale-skinned children who spoke a strange language and carried crosses of silver. Could the colonists have survived, reborn in another world, another name? We may never know, but perhaps the mystery of Roanoke isn't about what was lost, but about what it represents. The eternal struggle between exploration and survival, between the known and the unknown, between human hope and nature's silence. The story of Roanoke reminds us that discovery always comes with a price, and sometimes the greatest discoveries are the ones that vanish without a trace. As the ocean waves wash over the forgotten shores, and the forests reclaim what was once human, one truth remains: history is not written only by those who survive, but by those who disappear, leaving behind questions that echo through time. The Lost Journal closes this journey. From the stars above to the ruins below, from machines beneath the sea to the colonies swallowed by the earth, we have walked through the corridors of mystery itself. But remember, the unknown is not our enemy. 'Tis our invitation to keep searching. The pages of the Lost Journal close once more, but the echoes of what we've uncovered still linger in the air. 5 mysteries, 5 windows into the forgotten corners of our history. A machine that predicted the heavens. Lines carved across the desert sands. A book no one can read. Crystals that hold secrets of impossible craftsmanship. And a colony that vanished without a trace. Each of them, a fragment of something greater. A reminder that knowledge is never truly lost. It simply waits, buried beneath the dust of time, for someone curious enough to seek it again. Perhaps that is the true gift of mystery, not the answers we find, but the questions that keep us searching. Because every riddle, every strange artifact, every forgotten legend, pulls us closer to understanding who we are. Humanity has always reached for the unknown, from the depths of the ocean to the stars above. And in that endless pursuit, we leave behind the story of our own becoming. So maybe the Antikythera Mechanism still turns beneath the waves. Maybe the Nazca Lines still speak to gods we've forgotten. Maybe the Voynich Manuscript will one day reveal its voice. Maybe the crystal skulls will whisper their truths. And maybe, just maybe, the lost voices of Roanoke still echo somewhere in the wind. As you close this chapter, take a moment to remember that history isn't just about what we know. It's about what we feel when we touch the unknown. Because mystery, real mystery, doesn't end. It evolves, carried through generations, written in whispers, and kept alive by those who still dare to ask why. If you've enjoyed this journey, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts below. Your curiosity keeps this exploration alive. And remember, every story leaves a trace.